Gaza is not the most beautiful city. Its shores is not the most beautiful on the Mediterranean bases. Its oranges are not the most beautiful. Gaza is not the richest city. It's not the most elegant, nor is it the biggest, but it equals the history of an entire homeland because it's more ugly, impoverished, and miserable in the eyes of its enemies, because it's the most capable among us of disturbing the enemy's mood and his comfort, because it's his nightmare, because it's mined oranges, children without childhood, old men without old age, women without desires. Because of all of this, it's the most elegant and beautiful, and the one most worthy of love. This poem is a love letter by our beloved Palestinian poet Mahmoud Darwish. That takes me back to Gaza, Palestine, a place I tried so hard to let go of, and yet when I managed to leave her, she still won't let me go. The talk I intended to give today is about positivity and how to escape negativity, even in dark times. Having lived through 3 wars in my 17 years, I thought I knew something about this staying positive stuff. But the more I thought about it, I felt, not very positive at all. I found myself remembering Gaza and my people, and her people, my people, and wondering, is it fair to expect this of Gaza? Is it fair to expect us to be positive in spite of the ongoing siege, which has literally turned a dignified people into a beggars to the word for the most basic human rights? Is it fair to expect us to be positive in spite of the siege, which not only seals Gaza from every direction, but also tests the capacity of her inhabitants by denying 6% of drinkable water, less than 6 hours of electricity per day, and denies basic medicines? Each time somebody finds out them from Gaza, Palestine, the questions that I get the most asked are, what is it like to live in Gaza? How was it like to live through the last war in Gaza? Because even the right to flee was not there. It was sealed from every direction. No place was held sacred by one of the most powerful armies, Israel. Not our homes, not our hospital, not our schools, not our graveyards. And so I started thinking, what would these thoughts mean for TED, which is a platform to share ideas? And I found myself remembering something I was told by a mentor. Yousra, every good idea, every good answer comes from good question. Now I have my questions, but I'm not sure if they're good. And they won't go away. And I hope by the end of this, we can explore them together. On staying positive, I'd like to say that I'm not unique in this attempt effort. And in fact, there are many people in Gaza and in the world who face many brutal consequences because of war, including some in my extended family. I try to think about what is it that makes people in Gaza get up in the morning and live with hope, in spite of the strong feeling of hopelessness. It's actually faith. It's faith alone. I'm a Muslim and I'm obligated to accept my faith. That doesn't mean I should not try to change my circumstances, but when the situation is bigger than what I can offer to it, it's my obligation to accept it with peace and dignity. Because suffering is a test, and in this test, there's a reward, even if I cannot see it, but I should accept it. There's a saying I've heard people in North America use: when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Now I would like to share with you some of Gaza's best lemonade makers. This is Salim Saoudi with his daughter and niece. Due to the blockade in Gaza, construction materials are not allowed to get in. This is a moment of beautiful tenderness, an act of love. Something positive in the negative. Lemons into the lemonade. Now meet this couple. A war-zone wedding where uninvited death and destruction were present there. This is not only an attempt at being positive, this is a real love letter to the world. Now meet the future lemonade makers. These children are making their own games and durable. Due to the blockade in Gaza, electricity comes for no longer than 6 hours per day. This an attempt to study against all odds is something I personally experienced, turning lemon into the lemonade. And yet, in spite of the academic achievement, the powerful words of poets and dreamers, and the never-ending Gazas and indeed the world's best lemonade makers, I find myself asking another question. Do I have the right to fall apart? Do people in Gaza have the right to fall apart? To lose hope? To lose faith? What if lemonade makers run out of sugar? In Gaza, this is not only a metaphor. Such basic supplies are luxury for so many at so many times. Recently, I was in Toronto, Canada, where my brother, who currently lives in Seattle, sent me to stay with a friend he knew over the holidays. He wanted me to feel alone. He wanted me to feel home, not to feel alone. I'd like to tell you something. The last time I saw my brother, I was 9 years old. I'm 17 now. I remember the day he left. I remember the extreme emotions of my mom, because he was her only child, her only pride, as it's the way in my culture. Not to say that my sister and I were not valid, but he was the only other man of the house, and this strength was leaving. While we were sad, we were so proud of him, and we thought that he would at least have a better life for a short time. Little did we know that Anas would do so well to receive so many offers to stay. Little did we know that he would stay and finish his undergraduate studies, graduate studies, a new step in a career. Little did we know that this opportunity meant not seeing Anas for years to come. The day came when I too looked for opportunities, and little did I know that this opportunity would bring me to Vancouver Island, a few hours' drive from my brother in Seattle. After so many years, I thought finally fate had brought us together. So I applied for a visa. My visa was denied, and Anas does not have the ability to leave the US. My time in Toronto was everything I had hoped for and more. But there was this one time when I was walking with my friend Mona in the mall. I felt really sick. My heart was racing, feeling hot and cold. Mona took me to sit down, and as she guided me through deep breaths, she asked me if this happened often. I said yes, and with headaches. We then discussed the last year of my life, when this started happening. Until that moment, until someone took the time to ask me, I never realized how much I was keeping inside, in the effort just to stay positive. I left Gaza to attend a one-week summer program in Ireland, with the idea that I would return home. I made the decision not to return home, because going back to my family to say goodbye meant that held with it the chance that I won't be here in Pearson College. Sometimes luck lets you out, but more often the occupation locks you in. This is the injustice against Gaza, which keeps people apart and turns basic rights into dreams. She said that this might explain the feelings I was struggling with. And the truth is, after that day, knowing I shouldn't accept the abnormal as normal has made me feel a lot better. The truth is, I'm not often positive, and I'm not often strong. And sometimes I often find myself asking, why do I have to be so positive? Why do I have to be so strong about condition that's so seemingly unjust? Memories of my beloved Gaza are bittersweet. And I'm reminded, just to talk about positivity would be unfair to my own memories. Gaza has seen so many brutal wars, and I have lived through 3 of them, but war is not unique. And as I'm giving this talk, war is happening and tearing families apart in Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq, and elsewhere. I recently saw something in the news. It's called Invisible Wounds. It's about Canadian soldiers struggling to cope after they were in the war. It made me think about all the people who go through war, even if they don't want to be part of it. I feel like what's often expected of me, especially being from a culture that's so misunderstood, is to be positive no matter what. you're silent about your pain, they will kill you and say you enjoyed it. My friend Mona has recently shared this quote with me, and it hit me really hard. One of the things that I'm most known for is smiling. Now, I don't want you to walk out of this room and think that the next time I'm smiling, I don't really mean it. But in North America, I've heard another saying, fake it until you make it. And I hope one day that my insides and outsides will begin to match more often. But still, some days it doesn't. I'm just starting this conversation with myself. And I hope that you now might be able to share your thoughts with me. Maybe we could start a movement that makes falling apart a protected human right. So when people fail to be positive, we could show compassion and love instead of fear and anger. It is about sharing ideas. I would like to share with you the idea that if we could guarantee this right and give it places, less people would struggle with mental health. If we understood that not everyone knows the recipe of making lemonade, maybe we would be better supporting those who struggled silently. My name is Yousra Alfarra. I love my homeland. I miss my country. Some days I'm positive, other days I'm not. Maybe we could fall apart some time together if you just prefer a glass of lemonade. Thank you.